You might have missed it this past week, probably because we were all forced to watch Biden humiliate himself in front of the entire world during the G7 summit.
Unless you're Times Magazine and then you portrayed him on the front cover as some awesome cool dude. But no, he wasn't. He isn't. He'll never be.
He's not cool. Sorry, Joe. You're just not that cool. Anyway, so last week, 11-year-old Jenna Miller from New York was kicked out of her elementary school, not because she was bullying or harassing other kids in the classroom, or even, because she was like a rowdy, intense child that couldn't contain herself. No, and no. She was kicked out of school because she was forced to wear a piece of fabric over her nose and mouth while sitting in a classroom that had no AC, and all while the outside temperatures rose to 96 degrees. Basically, she's in a heat box.
And she called it child abuse.
Welcome to Unleashed with the Patriot Sisters. Buckle up, girl, because we're about to spill that tea just like we did in 1773.
We light the fire under all things politics. And don't worry, social justice warriors, we're like the fire underneath you too.
Why?
Because we're inclusive.
Prepare to be triggered. Jenna Miller calls this child abuse. The school calls it normal and something they can't fix without the CDC and state guiding them.
Oh, so we officially lost all brains outside of the classroom. Yeah. That's officially what we just declared.
We call it an excuse. Now, if you truly want to do something, you can make it happen. This is America, not Cuba, not China, not even Brazil. This is the US of A. If you want to see something happen, you make it happen. And because we, the people, hold the power.
And if we stop holding the power and we stop speaking up when we think something's wrong, even if you're wrong and you speak up, at least you spoke up.
You have that right. You have the ability to speak up.
And by the way, take it a step further, it's okay to be wrong about something you speak up on.
Yeah, that's fine.
When you learn the right facts, there's grace and there's mercy to change your opinion on something. Mm-hmm. Just because you believe something today does not mean you're betrothed to believe it forever, unless it's the whole concept. Betrothed. What did I say?
I don't know. It was a weird word.
It's okay.
But I got you.
Unless you believe that Jesus Christ is Lord and Savior, you still have the choice not to believe that 10 years down the road. But word of advice, I would stick to that belief system. But that's just me.
Jenna compared being kept in a hot room as what she calls with a muzzle, quote, muzzle on.
It is a muzzle.
To being equivalent.
And it hides your identity, actually.
Right. To being equivalent to being having a dog be kept in a car. That was her comparison. Now, which props to you, Jenna. You've made a really sad comparison that our society says dogs, animals, and animals' well-being is more important, more valuable than humans' well-being. One can't even talk. The other can find the cure to cancer. But hey, let's continue to force our kids to excel in their academics while being kept in a hot room, literally suffocating themselves. And if they don't perform well, they get low grades on their assignments, which will inhibit them later on, like down the road with school. Like,
let's go back to the dog.
Why are we focusing on dogs?
Well, here's the thing. We have our dog here. If you're watching on video, this is Paris. She's adorable. I love her. Like, honestly, I would do a lot for her.
Absolutely. It's your fur baby.
At the end of the day, she is just a dog.
She is just a dog. A cute dog.
She's literally like me in a dog version. But why do we hold this little face with more value than a human? Why is animal control more worried about helping dogs and holding people accountable who leave the dogs in the box or neglect in a box in a car or a box on the side of the road and neglect to feed them and they're malnourished? Why do we have that? And yet we're literally forcing our kids to be having the same side effects of being left in a car in the classroom or outside or at recess or at gym.
Here's the thing, though. We as a society have gone to great lengths to protect our dogs. There's nothing wrong with that as long as we are prioritizing, okay? Think about this. We allow kids like Jenna from New York to be kept in a hot room, no AC, with the fabric over her nose and mouth when outside temperatures are 96 degrees. And yet, when it comes to dogs in hot cars, we've implemented systems in cars like Teslas that have dog mode on. Which, by the way, legitimately, that's the coolest thing ever. I love that. But think about it. Why are we not caring about people? What happened to loving everybody? I don't really feel like there's a lot of love going on.
There's
So
not.
make it make sense. Oh, wait. Again,
The left has no sense. And
that's
Jenna
why they can't make sense.
No, and Jenna's not the only one. There's
No.
people, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people in this country.
Same situation.
And across the world speaking up. The beauty is that here in this country, we actually have the ability to do something about it. Whereas somebody in China or even in some places in Europe, they don't always have that right and that ability to do something.
The repercussions of speaking out are sadly real. Jenna was a victim to that.
Yeah.
She was given an ultimatum by her school. An 11-year-old was given an ultimatum. Why? Why is that happening? Either wear a mask, she was told, that she can't breathe in, because it's literally almost 100 degrees outside and there's no AC inside.
Or she was told to go home and you don't have to wear a mask.
That was her choice.
So you know what brave 11-year-old Jenna did? She chose freedom.
It's not easy.
She chose to leave her friends and what she's probably always known. And she came home because she chose freedom over... I don't want to say comfort because it's not comfort, but what's comfortable to a child to go to school and be with friends and follow that system.
And it's not easy. It's not easy for anyone, but especially for an 11-year-old.
So here's our question for you.
How can we be more like Jenna?
How can you change your community and what can you do?
What does that look like
in our
specifically,
community?
Right?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
It means it looks like sometimes just starting simple.
It's
starting
small.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I don't know about y'all, but when I'm trying something new, I'm the person where I like to do little baby steps until I get more confident, comfortable, and then I'm like, go big, go home.
Well, let's talk about the Patriot Sisters when we first started, which, by the way, we're almost for a 1-year anniversary. June 21st, 2020 is when we started. We're almost there.
But we started small with that.
You know, it started by on our personal accounts on Instagram, sharing other people's posts about BLM, because that was the hot topic at the time. Sharing some truths. And then I broke out and I did a 30-minute live, and I think I titled it like, do you know BLM? Or the truth behind BLM. And in the live, I'm literally talking to, like, maybe you and my other sister joined. Like, there was nobody I was talking to. But I literally was like talking and reading the website of BLM and be like, hey, do you know they're against the nuclear family? This is before anybody was talking about it, by the way. I found this out. Hey, do you know they actually went to defund the police? And they might have changed their stance on it now. But no, defund, by the way, no, they haven't changed their stance. But defund means to take away funds, like to remove all funds. And I was talking about this. It started there. And then we broke out and we were like,
hey, let's do something together.
Because she started doing stuff and we were like, let's just do it together.
Be easier.
But it started with us sharing other people's content.
So that's exactly what we recommend you do as well when it comes to rising up, standing tall, and fighting back with truth. Go, for example, to your grocery store without a mask on. Go to the gym without a mask on.
Go to your school if you're still in session, which if you are, you should totally drop that school because it's late. It's almost mid-June.
Bro, it's June 14th.
But do your normal schedule.
Literally do what like your normal day routine calls for you to do. But do it with confidence.
Right. Act confident and nobody will question you. Well, people might, but act confident. So here's the thing. More now than ever, you don't have to do what somebody else tells you to do. You have a brain, you have the right. I always wondered growing up, how could people in the Holocaust in the 1930s, World War II, how could people follow along as Hitler rose to power and implemented these things and took control? How did that happen?
Because people are lemmings.
I did not realize
the amount of people that are actually lemmings.
Which, yeah.
Is a lot.
In this family, we talk about this a lot, that the world is filled with a bunch of idiots. And now somebody's going to come triggered.
Oh my gosh, you can't say an idiot. You're a Christian. Oh my gosh, that's so good. Oh, cry me a river. Listen, here's the reason why we say the word idiot. If you look up the definition of an idiot, it literally means a stupid person. Now, what does the word stupid mean?
It means having or showing a great lack of intelligence or common sense. So stupid people are essentially people who show no common sense, which typically tends to be more on the left. Just saying.
But even that case, even if you take the left versus right, I can be stupid sometimes. you can be stupid sometimes. That's not a derogatory term. It's a fact. It just means you're not showing intelligence. And doesn't mean you always will show a lack of intelligence. That just simply means, hey, I'm acting stupid right now. I have room to improve.
What's something you're stupid about?
Where do I begin?
Like there's certain things on this page we don't always speak about because we don't know the answers to everything.
And that's okay. That just means you're normal.
Like if you don't see us talking about our economic state in this country, our economy. Because
that's not our expertise. Now, do we know a little bit to talk on it to a degree? Of course. But that's not our main focus, because that's not where we spend all of our time researching information on. So back to standing tall in your community, have the confidence to do literally your same routine, your same day-to-day routine. Have confidence in yourself, and even have confidence in the nation that granted you liberty to even try to stand up for something you believe in. Like, there's so many resources and areas, avenues that you can pull confidence out of.
Right. And sometimes you have to fake it till you make it. So next time you leave the house, whether you have a mask mandate in your state, county, city, wherever anymore, I don't care. Go without a mask. Do it. Mm-hmm. You have that right. Nobody can tell you what you can and cannot wear, and nobody can tell you what you can and don't have to do to protect yourself from something. And in this country we have freedoms, and one of those freedoms is called the freedom on how you treat yourself. So if you get cancer, God forbid, you have the right to do something about it or do nothing about it.
You have medical choice. You can decide how you want to treat yourself.
If you want to go natural or more medicinal, or do nothing,
that's up to you.
That's up to you.
Congrats.
So if you want to do
free will.
So if you want to do something and get to protect yourself against COVID and quotation marks,
that's up to you.
That's up to you. I choose not to do anything.
I don't feel like
that requires
need to right now.
This.
So
I do other things.
You do you, boo. Listen, there should never ever be a reason that there are 11-year-olds in this nation, the best nation on this earth, that have to make drastic decisions like the one Jenna Miller did, being kicked out of school.
This isn't a kid problem.
No, it's an administration problem. And if the administration feels like they don't have the confidence or the resources or whatever excuse they feel like making up at the time
to protect the kids in their school,
then it's the parents' turn to stand up.
And if you're a parent and you're not standing up, what are you, in the most loving way, what are you doing? I know it's hard. I know it's not easy. I know your kid might be hated on, and you might be hated on, and you might be the laugh of the town.
But what are you doing?
But will you be the person, and we talk about this history period a lot, will you be the person to stand up to the Nazis and say no?
Just because we're 6 months into this joke of administration doesn't mean we have to sit by and wait for our next turn to lead this nation again and the America First movement.
No, you don't.
The time is now.
Do it. And do you think that people and I won't talk about the Holocaust, because sometimes when we talk about, hey, stand up to, we compare Hitler or the Nazis to what's happening, people think we're actually calling people who are masked people Nazis, which no,
that's not what we're
they're
saying.
Not the same. The Nazis were way worse, but I'm just using as comparison. If you can't figure that out, bless you. So,
as a Southern would say,
bless
your heart.
Oh yeah, it's like a Southern
bless
grandma.
You. Bless your heart.
Do you know that reminds me of Hannah Montana's grandma in Hannah Montana the movie?
True.
Bless your heart.
It
but like,
starts
who doesn't
now?
Who was going to be the one to stand up for in the 60s in America for people who were hating on the blacks? Because that really did happen. Mm-hmm. That's when they were really oppressed. Like, were you going to be that person?
When do you begin?
Who's
it tomorrow?
Who's going to stand up for the kids that are being aborted millions of people?
When does that begin? It begins now. It begins today. In our homes first, with the changing of our hearts and the interjection of Jesus, if that hasn't happened already, because then that begins to bleed over into our jobs and then our schools, and then that jumps borders between each city.
And then countries and states.
Then states and then countries. If you haven't noticed, it's already happening. Take Texas and Florida, for example. Okay?
Like, listen to this. Texas was a complete mess. We used to live in Texas for a time period.
Hot mess.
Then COVID hit. We did not like the Texas that it became once COVID hit. Because we saw the governor. Everybody said he was Republican.
Governor Abbott.
And we looked at the situation and said, hey, we're looking at Florida where we had just come from. Was like,
might want to go back.
That's a leader. And
Governor
Texas wasn't
Abbott,
doing anything. He wasn't doing what it took to protect his people.
Homeboy was the driver of the struggle bus of Texas, okay? And he couldn't get his act together. Now, Desantis, governor of Florida, on the other hand...
We totally helped get elected in 2018.
Whoop, whoop.
Was it 18?
Yep, it was 18. Was leading, and still is leading, by the way, by his example of new laws and regulations that he's implementing. Now, do you know what Texas did?
I have a question.
What?
Oh, wait, I'll save this to the end. But when you're done, you have to let me talk. I have something to say.
Do you know what Texas did when it came to what Florida's new laws and what Desantis was doing, all the ruckus he was making over here in Florida?
Please tell us.
They followed in pursuit of the standards that Florida was now implementing.
They've done that with critical race theory.
They've done that with the vaccine passports.
They've done that with mask mandates.
Now, both states are back on track to be normal to the good old days of 2019, but that wouldn't have happened if one state, that was Florida, didn't stand up. Now you have Texas standing up. What other states do you think are going to follow in pursuit? I guarantee you it's not going to be commie California.
Or Ohio.
No.
What's wrong with our people
with
in
the
Ohio?
wine as governor? Yuck.
Here's the thing.
Just yuck.
You have the option. I'm going to give you two choices right now.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't necessarily a wrong choice in this.
No.
Now, Izzy, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
Because you might have you might disagree.
Ooh.
Because you don't know what I'm going to say.
I have no
This
idea.
is just this is coming.
Go for it.
You have the ability. I might even name the podcast this. I don't know. Okay, you have the ability. You can be a Texas or you can be a Floridian. You can be
a Texas? You mean a Texan?
Yeah, you can be I was going to say Texas or Florida. You can be an Abbott or you can be a Desantis. Mm-hmm. Which one? They're both good. Mm-hmm. But they're very different. Extremely. One leads the charge and one follows once the leader has stood up. Which person do you want to be? For us personally, we say
Desantis.
We're Desantis. Maybe that's why we decided to move back, because we're like, we just got to be with those people. But we like to lead the charge. We like to get people thinking, try something new, and if we're wrong, we're okay with learning that.
It is what it is.
And we're okay being the leader.
Some people like being
an Abbott.
And that's fine too.
You need to wait for somebody to rise up, stand tall, and fight back with truth, and then you're on board and you go with it.
The only problem is if you don't get on board.
Or the only problem is that if you know you're a natural born leader and you're a normal Desantis or a natural Desantis and you don't do something about it, you are letting down everybody around you, people you don't even know, and you're letting down your country. I'm just going to say it quite frankly, because you don't need to be somebody to make a difference. We are nobodies. We started as our personal accounts where most of the people hated us.
Yes.
We didn't come from a big following.
85%, probably 85 to 90% of our personal followers disagreed with what we said.
That's why we got rid of thousands of them. We deleted them all.
Now we're private, so good luck finding us. Anyway, so act confident. Nobody will question you. Do one thing this week that's going to kind of break yourself out of a mold, whether that's no mask to the gym, work, grocery store, bank, whatever. Try it, okay? Mm-hmm. And just try it.
And if you want to try something a little more simple, just share this episode with somebody. Mm-hmm. You can be an Abbott, or you can be a Desantis, or a Jenna. Jenna is a Desantis. Mm-hmm. She took the charge as a freaking 11-year-old. Props to you, girl. We're so proud of you.
Babe in the making, and I'm all here for it. I love to see stuff like that.
But at the end of the day, know that your voice is valuable, and you have to always,
rise up,
stand tall, and fight back with truth.
Of course, we'll see you in the next one.